Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am talking all about supplements and what to look for when you're buying supplements. This video has been highly requested, so I'm going to just jump on in, and I'm going to start by saying the first thing you should ever do, not only when buying supplements, but when buying anything that you're putting in your body, is check the ingredients. So on supplements, doesn't matter if it's a multivitamin or probiotic, there's always the main ingredients like the vitamins or minerals, but then there's other ingredients. You want to check the other ingredients, and you're gonna want to avoid ingredients like maltodextrin, carrageenan, citric acid, any type of soy, whether it's soybean oil, anything like that. And then you also want to avoid, as much as possible, gums and thickeners, so guar gums and xanthan gums for the most part. Some supplements are great and they do have thickeners, but for the most part, those are the main things you want to avoid. Something else you want to avoid, and sorry about the weird lighting, I'm in my basement. Something else you want to avoid is sugars. A lot of companies, believe it or not, put a lot of sugar in their products. And also food colorings. So if you're buying like the typical Shoppers Drug Mart, Jamieson type of supplements, I highly recommend, sorry it's the kids in the background, I highly recommend not doing that, or at least checking the ingredients, because you will most likely see high fructose corn syrup as a form of sugar, and you'll most likely see some food coloring in there as well, which is kind of really counterproductive in my opinion. So those are the main things that you want to avoid. Something else you want to look for, which is the next part, is what are you buying? So if it's a fat-soluble vitamin, you always want to make sure it's paired with a fat, because it can't absorb in the body if it's not in the presence of fat. So vitamins A, E, D, K, those are the main ones that you want to have in a fat-soluble solution. So usually they'll, like if you buy vitamin D, there will be coconut oil or olive oil. If you buy vitamin E, it might be some sort of sunflower oil or something like that. So you want to make sure it's in some sort of fat. The cleaner the fat, the better. I always strive for coconut or olive oil if I can find it. The next thing you want to do is you never want to buy, for the most part, again, nutrients on their own. So most vitamins and minerals absorb best when they are with other vitamins or minerals. So if you're buying something on its own, it's probably less bioavailable than it would be if you were to buy it with other nutrients. So for example, buying B vitamins on their own, yes, can be beneficial for some people, but for the most part, I recommend always buying it in the form of a complex. So B vitamins should have several different types of Bs in it, and they absorb best when they are together. For example, iron, it's another one. Iron on its own doesn't really absorb well into the body. It needs something like vitamin C to actually be absorbed, and even some protein. So if you're buying an iron and it's just pure iron, it's probably not going to be very bioavailable for you, and you'll be essentially wasting money for the most part. So you would want to do something like iron and vitamin C. In terms of probiotics, the same thing goes. You want to look for several different strains. You don't, unless there's a specific reason why you need one strain, you usually want to go for multiple strains. Usually people with major mold toxicity would go for just Saccharomyces boulardii or something like that. But for the most part, you want multiple strains. So look for something that has at least 4. 3 or 4 is the best. You want to go, you can go more, like 16 strains, but at least 3 or 4. And you want to make sure that there's no fillers, like I mentioned in the beginning, maltodextrin, cornstarch, high fructose corn syrup, or fructooligosaccharides. You want to just avoid all of those and just try to find something with some sort of rice. So usually the probiotics that I find will either do potato starch or rice. Ideally, I don't like potato starch because it's a starch and I kind of want to go for more of like actual like rice flour, but potato starch is okay sometimes if it's all you can find. But definitely avoid cornstarch, definitely avoid maltodextrin or anything like that. So those are the main things you want to look out for. In regards to casings, if you are halal, you don't want anything with a gelatin casing, as I'm sure you know. If you're vegan, you want to look for vegetable capsules. Something else you can look out for is probiotics. If you're looking for these probiotics to reach the large intestine and survive the stomach acid, you want enteric coating. So it's like the hard, really hard capsule that doesn't dissolve in the stomach, and it will actually not really release until it gets to the large intestine, which is where you want it. So that's something else you can look out for. Finally, just to end the video, the last thing you really want to look for is quality. A lot of times you can go to like your local drugstore or something and find vitamins and minerals that are so cheap, but they're cheap for a reason, because they're very low potency, they're very low quality, and stuffed with, like I said, fillers and food colorings and things that we don't want. So ideally you want organic, if possible, and then you want high quality. So how do you know if something is high quality? Well, I recommend always researching before you buy something. So whenever buying like a multivitamin, if you can get a food-based multivitamin, that's the best. So these vitamins will come from, you know, sorry, it's the kids. These vitamins will come from things like fruits and vegetables, and then they'll be in a capsule form. So that's a good way to do it. And if it says organic, you're good to go. But if you're not actually sure about the quality of a company's nutrients, and they're quite expensive, so you think they might be high quality, check their website. Every company, at least that I know of, shares a lot of info on their actual website about the quality of their supplements. Some will be misleading, so you always have to read deeper and really read fine print. Some are gonna, you know, throw claims out there like all natural, this and that, but it might not actually be the case. So all natural cornstarch is a thing, all natural maltodextrin is a thing. So just look into it more. But if you're not sure, always just check the companies online before purchasing. Some of my favorite companies, before I end the video, I'll just share a couple of my favorite brands. So yes, the brands I'm mentioning are owned or sold by Nestle and these big chains, but at the end of the day, essentially everything that you will be consuming is one way or another owned or something by Nestle, and one of those big companies that we are trying to avoid. So what I just say is go for quality. These companies are so large, you boycotting these supplements probably, in my opinion, isn't going to make that much of a difference. And what I actually think is, I know Nestle owns Garden of Life now, I believe, and they have, you know, like really bad foods that they sell. They have really bad formulas and things like that. But if they're having a supplement company, and as long as the ingredients are clean and things are really good, and they see how much supplements they're selling, maybe they'll start shifting over more to natural stuff. So who knows? But that's the companies I am recommending, I believe, are all owned by some sort of big company. So if you want to boycott that, that's totally up to you. But Garden of Life is great if you're looking for more plant-based, food-based type of supplements. And then in terms of just like phytonutrients and just vitamins, minerals, other types of complexes, I really like Genestra brands, and it's the one I use in my clinic, in my office. It's the ones I recommend because they're so pure, and there's so many studies done on literally every supplement they sell that just shows the accuracy and the proof that they work. And they're all gluten-free. Most of them are dairy-free, but they're non-GMO. Most of them are organic, so they're really good, really high quality, and I've used them myself every day, and I found them to be the best out of everything out there. If you're in Canada and you're looking for a smaller company, there's one called CanPrev, C-A-N-P-R-E-V, and they are great for nutrients as well. And they have my favorite vitamin D that's in coconut oil. So they have really high quality stuff as well. I believe they are Canadian. So there's a few companies, but those would probably be my top 3. So I really hope you guys enjoy. There are so many more things you want to be looking out for in supplements, but I think this is a good place to start, especially if you're feeling overwhelmed. Just look at the actual ingredients and avoid things like maltodextrin, carrageenan, etc. Any type of like bad starch or soybean oil. You want to make sure it's organic. You want to make sure the nutrients are paired with other nutrients if possible, and you also want to make sure that they are prepared in the right way. So vitamin E with a fat, or vitamin D with a fat, as they are fat soluble. So those are the main ones that you want to look out for. Amino acids are different. They are usually on their own, and that's totally fine, like L-glutamine or N-acetylcysteine, etc., glutathione. You can do all of those on their own, and there's no problem. If you are doing amino acids, always take them with a protein meal so they can absorb best. So that's all I have. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Sorry it was kind of crazy with the kids and I was kind of flying through everything, but if you have questions or you're concerned about something, please leave them in the description or comments down below, and I will try to get to everyone. So thank you so much for watching. I love you all, and we'll chat soon. Bye.